Hello and welcome to the Support Survey Hub. So today we are going to quickly address how to make a tax tracker. This is what my tax tracker looks like. And oftentimes I just want to see what's happening on the screen. I just want to be able to look at the screen and say, oh, this is what's happening. These are the tax that are overdue. And I would be able to compare the dates because there are sometimes it can just get overwhelming to stare at the screen so I have to have the counts and everything down. So we're going to be creating this tax tracker today. Now you can use sample tax trackers, sample trackers. Excel has some of those. You simply go to insert and you get pre-built tables. So these tables, you can use for a range of different things, but I like to be able to count mine and I like to be able to customize my own trackers. So that's why we're doing this. Now, if you want to be able to customize your own tracker, this is very simple. No need for too many codes, no need for too many formulas and all of that. So I like to leave like 3 rows before I start. So this is 1, 2, 3. I also like to leave like this first column empty before I start. So, okay, very quickly, I'm going to label this as tracker, tax tracker. I've already put in the rest of this. So we're going to merge these cells that would serve as the heading. We're going to merge them. This is where you get your merge. And then we're going to increase the size, the font size. Maybe make it 18. Right. So you can also add the colors you want. If you want to color this, if you want to add a color to this, you go to fill and then you probably add blue, a shade of blue. Now, back to this part. I want to be able to, I want to validate these things. So one of the things I'm going to do very quickly is status, priorities, those two things need to be validated, right? And I mean, they need to, I need to do data validation on these two. So in status, I'm going to click on data validation, cell action, data validation, and data validation will ask me to add rules. Now the rules I'm going to add is, this is like going to help automate everything. This will be not started. And the second option would be in progress. And maybe the third option, add another item. Maybe the third option would be delayed. And add another item, completed. Now we're going to put colors so that we color code it. Maybe completed would be blue, delayed would be red, in progress would be green, and not started would be gray. This is how I like to have mine. Now, because I don't like this cheap, I like to do drop downs. I like to just have my text. So there are options you can show a one reject input. If data is invalid, reject input. But then my display style, that's what I want to change. I want to change it to plain text. I don't like that cheap. So this is done. Now I'm going to add another rule, but this rule is for priority. So we're going to come down to G5 and do the same thing, because we're going to come down to G5 and do the same thing, data validation and add rule. Right, you can just simply do it from there instead of coming down, but I want to show you guys how to. You can just simply go up to this part, select data range, and say I want to add this row to G5, but we've already done that. So another way you can do this is G5 column, right, G. So it applies to everything in that range. I think we should do it like that, so instead of trusting it to copy and all of that. So we're going to be doing high, right? Let's use this. High for priority, high, maybe purple for medium, and then blue for low, right? So these are the priorities we have. And then we'll go back to advanced option again and we'll leave it as plain text. Okay, done. Now, let me just quickly do F5 again. F5 column F5 column F. So it does, when you do that, it marks the whole column down to the end, right? So this is that for data validation. Then the next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that our date column is cooperating with us. So you click on that date column that you want, and I want to do 3 columns at a time. I want to configure 3 columns at a time. So I click on date column, shift, and then arrow 1, 2, 3, right? I've highlighted it. So I'm going to still do that shift, but I want to do it. I want to apply this rule to every column, all the 3 columns down to 1000. So I do shift, control shift down. So it marks all the column at the same time. Now I'm going to go in and format this column number, and I'm going to format it as custom date and time. I want to be able to see my date and time, but I want to be able to see it in this format. Since this is 2025, I don't need the year. So I'm just going to leave it at August 5, right? Apply. Now we have that. Our date is set. And okay. So we're going to now import data. But first of all, let me just quickly design this so it looks presentable, right? So this, we're going to fill in a color. Color is probably still another shade of blue, right? Okay, I think it looks okay. Now let's go ahead and start filling in the data. Remember that this is in progress, not started, and the likes. Priority, medium, high, and we also have our date. So say this is January 3. So this is our date. Now we're going to go in and fill in data. I already have something from ChatGPT. I'm just going to copy this. ChatGPT. Can you imagine? Can you just fucking imagine? Okay, so now we're going to add in the details. So for instance, the category is accounts department, right? Prepare tax returns. Everybody's filing taxes. So the assignee might be Fidel, right? And the status is so we'll the category is accounts, and the tax is maybe file tax returns, and the assignee is probably Fidel, let's say Fidel, and it's already marked in progress, right? And the priority is medium. The date started is January 6th. Due date is January 18th. And the date completed is not yet completed, right? He has not done it yet. So the comments, do we have any comments? Why is this being delayed, right? Maybe government. So just this is just test. This is nobody. This is just test data. Okay. So now for overdue, this overdue column is very important. So we're going to go and get our formulas. Overdue column basically helps you keep an eye on the things that are not yet working, like the things that are overdue, the tasks that are overdue, so that you're able to know what to follow, right? So if your due date is passed and not marked as completed, that means it's overdue. So we're going to take this formula and we're going to put it into that overdue column so that it can register overdue. So the rule is if we're in F5 now, so you have to edit it. If F5 is not marked as completed, then I6 and I6 is greater than today, then J6 and J6 is empty, but this is not J6, this is J5. This is J5 is empty. Then this column should be marked as overdue or on track. So I can simply take this, drag this down, and it will fill up or not, depending on if this is, for instance, if this date is not overdue, right? Say January 30 is the due date, and it was assigned, say January 8th. So it's on track. You see that it has changed, it's not overdue. Now, but I'm going to also do the same thing I did with these columns where I did data validation. I want to also do data validation here. So view more, cell action, and go to data validation. What's happening with data validation here? We're adding a new rule. We're adding a new rule, sorry, for this L5. So data validation for L5, add a new rule. So L5 column L. Now, if L is overdue, we want it to show maybe amber, right? So if it's overdue, it will show up as amber. And then we have our advanced option again. I like, again, plain text. Now, if it is, we are going to also add another rule that if it is on track, it will show green. So for on track, green, right? So if that column is on track, it shows green. Now let's go back and see what we have here. So this is what we have here. it's overdue, it's amber, it's on track, it's green. So this is how you can set up your tax tracker. Now we're going to go ahead and fill up this part, with more data and see how that goes, so that we can do our counts, right? So I'm just going to copy this table from. I'm going to copy this table from ChatGPT and return back here. And I want to start. Remember that this formula most times, yeah, I want to start here and Control V. Right, so I'm going to remove, hold on, this is, so to fill this in, just drag it. After you highlight it, so you drag it down to wherever you need to go to. So now we have this beautiful sheet. Delete this, delete row. So we're just going to wrap text again because sometimes this thing is always acting out. So we have everything set up now. We're going to convert this to a table. We're going to convert this to a table. But so far we have everything set up. Let me reduce the screen. And as you can see, our tax tracker is coming together. Now we're going to have, we've done everything, we've added everything, and we're going to move this, apply this, to just simply apply this to all the rows. You drag it down, drag down the row, and it applies. Or you can just add it as you can just add the, just drag it down. It works like that. So you have your tax tracker set up. Now you want to make the count. So we have overall count, tax count, and we have, we have in progress. You want to be able to look at the screen and see what's happening, right? Your status. We have completed tax, we have overdue, or maybe not yet. We have not started, we have overdue. Sorry, we have delayed first, and then we have overdue, right? So I want to make sure that here the text is large enough so that I can just simply see whatever I'm putting in or whatever I'm writing. When I just look at the screen, I can see, right? So What I'm going to put in here is another formula, tax tracker formula, that is going to help me count the tax. So that's this, and I'm going to go back here and this, apply it here. So tax tracker would count, this is the tax tracker, this is the tax tracker sheet, right? It will count D6, but what we have now is D5. So it's going to start from, we're going to correct that. It will start from D5 to all the way down to D. Like so, D5 to everything that is in D, it will count it. So that's, sorry, this is, I'm going to rename this sheet as tax tracker because that's what TASK, going to rename it as tax tracker if this is going to work. So D5 to D. Yeah, and we're in D. Sorry, that's a wrong place. I pasted it. C5, sorry. C5 to C. Tax count. This is D5. Okay, so sorry, I mixed up the columns there. If you, this is tax tracker, what it is counting is this sheet. So this is the name of the sheet, tax tracker. You have to name the sheet tax tracker or whatever you name the sheet. If I go back to maybe naming the sheet sheet A, right? This is going to be invalid because now it doesn't know where it is supposed to count. But if I change this tax tracker to sheet A, it becomes valid and then it counts. So you can see that what we have here is 46 tax and it is counting 46 tax. So, but to just avoid unnecessary confusion, leave it at tax tracker. Okay. So now we're going to go back again and copy the code for in progress. So in progress, we're in progress now would count this status column. That's where we're going to check in progress, all the tasks that are in progress. Status column. So count, this is going to go back to sheet A, right? EET A. If you're going to count sheet A, if F6, F5, we're starting from F5 because that's where our column starts from, to F is in progress, right? You count that. So we have 18 in progress. So we're going to go again, completed. We want to see the completed task. So for completed, the same thing. So tax tracker will be changed to sheet A. Now, if F5 to F is completed, then would mark that. So 17 is completed. Now we're going back again to not started. We're going to do the same thing we did with these other guys, right? So sheet A, F5 is not started. And if it's delayed, if it's overdue, so if it's overdue, it's still basically the same count if, right? If it's overdue, it's still basically the same thing. So we post that in and say count if but now we're no longer doing F6, we're doing L5. L5 to L is marked as overdue. All right, so we have in progress, we have completed, and we have not started. And we have overdue that is 23. So what we're going to do is within this overdue that is 23, we're going to look at them. We can now see, okay, this is what is important, and these are the things that are not important. And we can now figure out how to sift through so that, like, for instance, we have January due date is 18 and it's overdue. So why is it overdue? You can put in your notes here. You can put your notes, this is the reason why it is overdue. Insert notes. You say government issue, the office is on strike, or whatever you want to say, and that's your note. So whenever they ask you, you know that this is the reason why this is being delayed. Even though it's in progress, it's overdue, it's not done because of this reason. So if there's a reason why it's been, this is actually, we can now change this to delayed, right? And it's red. So this helps you to just look at your tax list and figure out what is working and what needs urgent attention and all of that. So that's that for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. So next we're going to be building a dashboard, and a dashboard is basically like a pictorial representation of what we are doing. So see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.